is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire Podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. My name is Kendall Bowman, and ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of controversy going on right now. A lot because of the war going on between Israel and Palestine, of course, as you know. But specifically about, did Israel know that the attack was coming? Did they know that something was coming, or did they know exactly what was going to happen and they allowed it to happen? This is a lot of the controversy that's going on right now. It's because of stories like this. The Times of Israel says Egypt's intelligence official says Israel ignored repeated warnings of something big. Now, full stop. I want to stop us right there, because if Egyptian intelligence calls up Israeli intelligence and says, hey, there's something big coming, that doesn't really tell us anything. And mind you, I believe they only told them like 10 days in advance that something big was coming. So when you think about quote unquote something big, that doesn't tell us exactly what's coming. It doesn't tell us who's going to do it, how it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, or when. It doesn't tell us anything. And remember, this is only 10 days in advance. There's only so much preparation for an attack or for something that you can do before, in only 10 days. There's only so much that you can do beforehand in only 10 days, especially when you have no idea what is coming. But I do want to read this, and I want to get into a specific theory that's going around. So let's read. Mounting questions over Israel's massive intelligence failure, anticipate and prepare for a surprise Hamas assault were compounded Monday when an Egyptian intelligence official said that Jerusalem had ignored repeated warnings that the Gaza-based terror group was planning something big, which included an apparent direct notice from Cairo's intelligence minister to the prime minister. The Egyptian official said Egypt, which often serves as a mediator between Israel and Hamas, had spoken repeatedly with the Israelis about something big without elaborating. That right there is exactly what I'm talking about. Without elaborating. They did not go into detail as to what the Egyptian intelligence did not go into detail as to what they were saying is coming at them. Hey, there's something coming at you, but we can't tell you what it is. It's like, okay, that doesn't help us at all, dude. Like, come on. He said Israeli officials were focused on the West Bank and played down the threat from Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government is made up of supporters of West Bank settlers who have demanded a security crackdown there in the face of a rising tide of violence over the last 18 months. We have warned them an explosion of the situation is coming, and very soon, and it would be big. But they underestimated such warnings. The official, who spoke on condition of anonymity because he wasn't authorized to discuss the content of sensitive intelligence discussions with the media, told the Associated Press. Netanyahu denied receiving any such advance warning, saying in the course of an address to the nation Monday night that the story was fake news. Oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to get into a specific theory that is going around. What you have to understand about this conflict is that this conflict literally goes back thousands of years, okay, between the Jews and the Arabs, or the Jews and the Muslims. You go back, and for any of you who have read the Bible, you know what I'm talking about. The story of Isaac and Ishmael. Isaac was the son of Abraham, who eventually went on to lead the Jews and things like that. Ishmael, on the other hand, is known in the Muslim world as the father of the Arabs. Okay, so this is what you have to understand. There's conflict here that goes back literally thousands of years. Okay. What you need to understand is if this conflict has not been solved in thousands of years, it's probably not going to be solved right now. Okay? That's what everyone needs to understand, and everyone needs to wrap their head around that right now. okay? This conflict probably isn't going away anytime soon. Even if one side were to, completely take over the other's territory, it's probably not going away because there's, a bunch of other Islamic nations in that area that are not really going to like that. So this is something that we have to understand. And ultimately, one of the biggest tactics that is used in this war is the fog of war. Okay, deception, manipulation, specifically media manipulation. And I want to tell you about this story that was absolutely going crazy yesterday. From Timcast, reports of Israeli babies being beheaded by Hamas sparks skepticism and doubt from online pundits. Now, I'm going to be totally honest with you. When I saw this story, going out, I'm going to be totally honest, I believed it. Because we had already seen videos of Hamas coming in and just point blank just killing people. Just outright killing civilians. We've already seen videos of that. If you dig deep enough on Twitter, on the internet, you can find those videos. They're not hard to find, okay? It's like Deion Sanders. It's not hard to find, okay? Sorry, that was a stupid joke. But guys, when I saw this story, I'm not gonna lie. I absolutely started to believe it. Okay, because in my opinion, I thought, what reason would Israel have to lie about this? And then a lot of people started to bring up something that I was not alive for. Okay, and that's this story. Or, well, I was alive for it, but I wasn't exactly conscious about what was going on because I was a wee lad. Multiple X-users compared the claim to the false Naira terror testimony that rallied U.S. support for the Gulf War. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, there was a young girl who was actually the daughter of one of the high-ranking officials in Kuwait at the time, and her testimony in front of a civil rights tribunal in the United States, her testimony is what convinced a lot of the American citizens to support Kuwait in the war at the time, or in the Gulf War. Now, her testimony ended up being a lie. It was a complete lie. She said that Saddam Hussein's soldiers were going in and they were bayoneting. I get it. This is brutal. This is violent. I'm sorry. But her testimony was that Saddam Hussein's soldiers were going in to hospitals. They were bayoneting babies in their cribs, throwing the babies on the ground, and then taking the cribs back to wherever. That was her testimony, okay? That ended up being a lie. Our support in that war was based on a lie. The United States citizens supporting that war was based on a lie. All the people that signed up for the military to go fight for the military because of stories like that, it was based on a lie. So this is what you have to understand. The media manipulation around this conflict is going to be insane. Let me give you another example of this, okay? From Greg Price, he posts these two pictures. As you can see here, the first one, it's a picture of a New York Times article. And ultimately what they're doing is they're talking about Hamas, okay? And they're saying in the first picture that Hamas is terrorists, okay? They specifically call Hamas terrorists. You can see that right there. But then we go to the next one, and they have changed it to Hamas gunmen. It's the exact same article. But they've changed the wording around Hamas and how they describe Hamas from terrorists to gunmen, okay? So this is what you have to understand. The media narrative and the manipulation around this conflict is going to be insane. And you must be vigilant. I must be vigilant. We have to do our research and understand why this is happening, what is going on. And I get it. You're not always going to be able to do that because, like I said, the fog of war is thick when it comes to conflicts like this. It's going to be very thick, okay? We're not going to know all the information. The likelihood is that the information that we get is going to be very little. So, and most of the time, it's probably only going to be from the people who are on the ground there. And even they might be manipulated because this reporter right here, she was on the ground. She was on the ground. Now, when it comes to the stories of babies being beheaded, okay? When it comes to the attack from Hamas on these towns and these neighborhoods and the rave that was going on, you see the videos. They were killing people indiscriminately. They were largely killing people just indiscriminately. Okay, what that means is that, do I think that some babies could have died? Yes. Do I think that some babies could have, gotten hit by a bullet and it resulted in the beheading of that baby? Absolutely. That's a possibility. And then, some soldiers see this child. They say, "Oh, they beheaded babies," and then it gets, telephoned up the chain of command, and then now everyone's screaming, "Oh, 40 babies killed, and beheaded." Okay. Well, the problem there is it's false information. Okay. Ultimately, I don't know if this was a direct cause. I don't know if this was a direct attack against these babies. Okay. I don't know if that was a specific attack on them. I do not know that. I don't have that information. So take that with a grain of salt. I do want to point this out, though. Israel and Hamas, or Israel and Palestine, have been at war for a very long time. Okay. Literally for years now. Okay. Israel has been trying to find a way to take care of the Palestine problem for a long time. Okay? For a very long time. Ultimately, Israel's just been looking for an excuse. That's the reality. Israel has just been looking for an excuse to march into Gaza, to take over Gaza, and to say, you no longer get to have authority. You no longer get to have self-governance. We are taking over. And now you get nothing. You get no Gaza. Nothing. Gaza is ours now. That is what Israel has been waiting for an excuse to do. And Hamas just gave it to them. Personally, I don't know that Israel has to lie about this, but we've seen multiple times in history that governments will, massively blow things out of proportion in order to try to make themselves look good, try to make themselves look more like a victim, so that they can have a valid reason to go and do what they're about to do. Okay. And the reality is that we're seeing troops mobilizing on the border between Israel and Gaza. And the likelihood is that, guys, this might be the end of Gaza. It very well could be the end of Gaza. Okay? But I want to warn everybody about that. If Israel destroys Gaza, if Israel takes over Gaza and annexes it, the reality is that, from what I am hearing from people who are very close to the situation, is that Hezbollah, which is another terrorist organization up in Lebanon, north of Israel, is that if Israel takes over Gaza and destroys Gaza, the likelihood is that Hezbollah will get involved. Okay? And I can tell you from what I'm hearing, I'm not an expert on this. I'm hearing this from other people. I'm seeing reports, okay? Hezbollah is not Hamas, okay? Hezbollah is not Hamas. Hezbollah is a whole nother beast entirely, okay? Hezbollah and Israel have clashed in the past, and Israel has lost at times to Hezbollah, okay? Now, Israel has a very strong military, but so does Hezbollah, okay? So the reality is that if Hezbollah ends up getting involved, guess who's coming to help Israel? From the AP, the U.S. will send a carrier strike group to the Eastern Mediterranean in support of Israel. This is exactly what I warned against in my very last video, where I said the United States should not be getting involved in this. This has nothing to do with them. Yes, Israel is an ally, but Israel has a very powerful military, and they have all the capability in the world to take care of Hamas. This is not something that we need to get involved in. And then, of course, we start seeing, oh, Hezbollah might get involved. Oh, Syria might get involved. Oh, all these people, they're all going to attack. And then, of course, the United States says we're going to send a carrier strike group. And the United States has also said that they will lend special operations support to Israel. Not yet boots on the ground. That's their words, that they will not be sending boots on the ground. I highly doubt that they will stop at just operational support. I highly doubt that. We know the United States government at this point. I know my own government. They are manipulative. They like to wiggle their way into things that they shouldn't be wiggling their way into. And a lot of the times, they end up hurting a lot of people in the process. Okay. I do not like the United States government. I don't like my government. I don't like the FBI, the CIA, the intelligence organizations. I don't like 99% of people in Congress. I mean, probably the only person that I support at all right now in Congress is maybe Matt Gaetz and Rand Paul. That's it. These are the only people that I would actually kind of give halfway support to, even though they are still politicians. Okay. The reality is that the United States wants to get involved in this. The United States is looking for a reason to get involved, and they are escalating things. Absolutely. The United States, by sending this carrier strike group, you are putting your assets in danger. Like, think about it. Think about what happened in the Gulf of Tonkin. Okay. United States puts their they put their warships literally in harm's way, and what the groups that are there that hate America, what are they going to do? They're going to take advantage of that, and they're going to hit one of these ships, and there you go. There's all the reason you need to have full support to go all in against Hamas. That's the reality of this, guys. The escalation. That's all the United States does, is just escalate and escalate and escalate. Do you notice that this all went down right after Congress said that they're not going to, be funding Ukraine anymore? Is that not suspicious to any of you guys? They're already, as soon as the United States citizens, as soon as we all dropped Ukraine, the government picked up Israel. Guys, I'm telling you, we are being manipulated. Okay? We're being manipulated. The fog of war is thick around this conflict. I refuse to take a side. I refuse to take a side in this conflict. I refuse. Because the reality is that we cannot know who is right and who is wrong. The history is too long between these nations. The war and the conflict has gone on for too long. The facts have been skewed. Who is right, who is wrong? There's no way of finding that out now. I refuse to take a side. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I won't. Even though I am a supporter of Israel and I do think that Israel has a right to defend itself, we don't know all the facts. We just don't. And if Israel did something to cause this, or if Israel allowed this to happen and then used it as an excuse to go and destroy Gaza and to take over Gaza, I'm sorry, I'm not going to support that. I'm not. That is manipulation. That is allowing your own citizens to die just so your military can have an excuse to go into Gaza and to take land. That's not what I am here for. I do not support war in any way. Now, I'm not saying that Israel did that. I'm not saying that Hamas is innocent. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that I don't have all the facts. And until I have all the facts, I refuse to take a side in this war. I'm not going to do it. I absolutely refuse. With all the things that are coming out right now about the failures of the Israeli intelligence, I'm not going to take a side. And you shouldn't either. Because the reality is that this war has nothing to do with us. This is another war that the United States is trying to wiggle their way into that has nothing to do with them. I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what the future holds. I just know that we need to be standing up against the endless wars that are supported by the United States. Now, I have one more thing to tell you before we go, and that is that there is real danger against you when it comes to this situation, okay? From Timcast, terrorist attacks predicted for U.S. after Hamas assault in Israel. Some say waves of attacks could hit major U.S. cities over the next 14 months, a time frame that coincides with the 2024 election cycle. Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, our southern border has been open literally for my entire life. Literally for my entire freaking life. The southern border has been just wide freaking open. Okay? Ultimately, the reality is that we have stopped over, the Border Patrol has stopped over 100 people at the border who were on terrorist watch lists. Okay? Now, there are expected to be thousands of these people who actually got away, okay, and are now inside the United States. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are. We don't know what they're doing, what they're planning. We have no idea, okay? That's the reality. That right there is 100% on Biden. 100%. This administration has had several years now to fix this problem. They could have closed the border. They could have put National Guard on both borders and said, nope, we're not taking anybody else. We will only bring in trade. That's it. They could have said, only trade is going to come across the border. Only goods, only trade is coming across this border. Nothing else. Period. End of story. They could have said that. And they could have used the National Guard to enforce it. But they didn't. They chose not to. And now we have what's predicted to be thousands and thousands of terrorists, people who were on terrorist watch lists, who were able to get through the cracks and are now inside the country. And now you've got this going on over in Israel, and you wonder why people are scared. You wonder why people are scared. The reality is that this is a real reality, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, now it has never been a time, there has never been a better time to go buy an AR-15, okay? Now, and you can sit there and you can scoff at that. Just look at what happened in Israel. Now look at all the terrorists that have come across their border, okay? Now, look me in the eye and tell me that attack that just happened to Israel cannot happen to us. You really going to sit here and say that? You really going to sit here and say that attack that just happened in Israel cannot happen here with all of the terrorists that have come across our southern border? It absolutely can. So, what will you be facing if it were to happen on U.S. soil? Well, you're going to be facing massive droves of men who are armed coming into your home, coming into your neighborhood, who want to kill you or want to take you captive, just like what happened in Israel. So, what do you need in order to defend yourself or your family? You need a weapon like an AR-15, like an AK-47. You can go to your local gun shop and you can buy these things unless you live in the communist state of California or New York. You know, it's going to be difficult for you there. And the reality is that those two states are probably going to be where this goes down because they know you won't be able to fight back. Sucks to suck. You voted for it. I don't know what to tell you. As for the rest of us, go buy an AK-47, go buy an AR-15, go buy something that has at least a 30-round capacity, okay? Because most of the times whenever you're going into a gunfight, the amount of ammunition that you go into that gunfight with is all the ammunition you're going to get. So you want to have the most possible, especially if it's an attack like what happened in Israel, where you're facing multiple people, okay? Look, I am not intending to say this to scare you. That's not my intention. But the world is scary. That's just reality. War is scary. That's the reality. And the likelihood of an attack happening on U.S. soil just went up tenfold. So, ladies and gentlemen, protect yourselves, stay safe, and I'm going to leave it there, man. I will have another show coming for you guys on Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.